Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Welcome to another episode. So cobots are in high gear now. Check this out. Robots help keep bridges from collapsing. A growing cadre of tech companies are stepping up to address a massive problem hiding in plain sight, the aging of trillions of dollars worth of bridges, tunnels, and factories in the U.S. alone. The American Society for Civil Engineers gives our infrastructure a C- on its most recent report card. Well, that's a little better than it was a few years ago when it was D+. This article, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal, goes on to say, oxygen keeps us alive, but it's also highly reactive, an eager partner for metals and most everything else we build from. Rust happens, and on top of that, waves, wind, and the expansion and contraction that comes with the seasons erodes and cracks steel and concrete. So why does this problem exist? Well, the author Kurt Vonnegut had an idea about that. He said, everybody wants to build and no one wants to do maintenance. I can tell you from my many years of experience in U.S. corporations that this is true, that companies are very poor at preventive maintenance in general, and most tend to be in reactive maintenance mode, meaning when a machine breaks, they fix it. So this article goes on to talk about a Shell chemical plant outside of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's called the Geismar plant, and it's been in operation since 1967, so this is an old plant. The company makes industrial chemicals at this facility. The article goes on to say, until very recently, when Shell wanted to do inspection of parts of the plant, it had to shut that part of the plant down completely, which obviously triggers significant financial loss, right, to take part of a plant down. Then after the plant was brought down, the company would bring in workers who then had to risk life and limb by climbing and inspecting both the outside and inside of these huge processing facilities. These days, Shell is able to keep the plant running while doing inspection and keep repair personnel at a safe distance as they operate wall climbing robots to do inspection. So this is a classic case of a cobot. These people are directing what the robots are doing. Using a variety of sensors, the robots can look for corrosion and cracking. Shell uses Gecko Robotics. I've talked about that company before. A broader trend across maintenance of military and civil infrastructure of every kind. So this kind of robotic inspection is really gaining traction. The entire inspection and maintenance industry is transitioning gradually and sometimes begrudgingly, because people don't like change, from performing maintenance on a set schedule to using a new suite of tools to figure out what needs fixing before it breaks, said Adam Bree of the company Skydio, a drone maker. I think one of the fascinating things is how much of infrastructure our world runs on is untouched by digital technology yet. Skydio customers include more than 80 utilities, transportation agencies in 35 states, and oil and gas firms to do these kind of drone inspections. For drones, this type of work is all about using the same cameras that appear in our cell phones to automate visual inspection. Images can then be fed into a machine learning system, aka AI. This technique yields hyper-realistic models that can be virtually inspected by humans from the comfort of an office. Underwater, a similar evolution in robotics is also happening, but in a much more challenging environment. For underwater, it's taken decades of research, some of it funded by the U.S. Navy, but most of it's subsidized by the biggest customer for remote underwater vehicles, offshore oil industry. For sensing cracks and corrosions, these underwater remote vehicles are able to use cameras and ultrasonic thickness sensors, but only if the robots are powerful enough to resist powerful currents and get precise enough in their navigation to get close. In the water, they are looking at the thickness of structures to determine how fast they're dissolving. So Earth's climate is rough on infrastructure. Another company, VideoRay, has been building underwater robots for more than 20 years. Its latest generation of remote vehicles weigh 38 pounds and can be carried by one person rather than the ones going back 5 to 10 years that weighed tons and needed significant equipment to deploy. Back on the ground, robots like Zurich-based Anybotics four-legged Animal derive their utility from being about the size of a medium-sized dog and able to go anywhere humans can go. Using cameras, lasers, and thermal sensors, and even electronic noses. And of course, Boston Dynamics has their Spot robot. And then there's Inert Robotics, which created a robot that weighs less than 11 pounds, is the size of a large briefcase, and can stick to nearly any smooth surface and climate for inspection, conducting minute inspections for corrosion and chemical and biological containment, because a lot of these environments have very caustic materials that they're making in them. Robots can also increasingly take on the roles humans once had in fixing it. GreenSea is one example. The company makes underwater robots that scrubs the bottom of ships to prevent the buildup of barnacles, tube worms, and other gunk known as fouling, which causes ships to use 20% more fuel to get where they're going. So what are the direct costs of corrosion? Check this out. It's mind-blowing. The most recent study was in 2013, which estimates between 3 and 4% of GDP, and this has been very consistent in studies over many years. Globally, that means corrosion is costing humanity trillions of dollars a year. So this is a huge issue, and robots and AI are helping to solve it. So as I said at the beginning, this marks a boom in cobots, right? But eventually, all this becomes fully automated without the need for human direction and intervention. The repair part really matures, and then it goes fully autonomous, replacing humans in these situations. So what can you do to prepare yourself? 2 things. Click that link below. Get your free resource. Learn more about AI so that you can be prepared for the wave of automation that, based on this article, is clearly here and maturing. And secondly, pick a job that requires human touch. Plumbing, electrical work, nursing, physical therapy, home health care. There's a lot of jobs. I'm barely scratching the surface. Psychology and psychiatry is another one. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the next episode here at the AI Guide. Please like, subscribe, and share. We're over 900, almost to 1,000 for full monetization opportunity. Really appreciate your help and support. It's important. So thanks so much. Take care. Bye.